So Amazing Spider-Man number 50 came out last week. And the day before it came out, I dropped a video just sort of noting how sort of, I guess my upset towards the fact that Nick Spencer's run had been going for 50 issues and we hadn't found out who Kindred was yet. Well, in Amazing Spider-Man number 50, we find out who Kindred is. I guess I just want to talk about that issue just for a tiny bit. I think the issue itself was great. I think Patrick Gleason, who looks to be the sort of current, like the new regular artist on Amazing Spider-Man, is a great choice. I'm very familiar with his work from his DC days. And so I think, and this particular issue is some of the best Patrick Gleason art I have ever seen. I actually had to double check that it was him because it was so different, but in a good way. I think it had this sort of like a tiny bit like with the coloring and the inks and things like that coming together. I think the art had a grittier, more realistic tone to it. I felt not supremely realistic, but it was like in comparison to your Humberto Ramos and your Ryan Ottley, who we have had on this series quite a bit. It definitely had that more grounded tone that I think I really wanted from this storyline. This particular storyline itself, which is the last Remains storyline, it's got a lot of promise. I will say that. It's got a lot of promise. I think I definitely won't share the reveal here. I will say that just the reveal gives a lot of promise story-wise, because I think that the most interesting element of this now to me is how is this particular character both sort of kindred and how does this link back to I guess what we've seen of them for the last sort of period that they have been active in the Spider-Man books. That is the element that interests me, and I think I definitely am keen to see sort of a backstory. I normally don't care about backstory stuff. Like, for example, in the current death metal event for DC, we're getting a lot of backstory stuff for a lot of characters. I don't care about most of those backstories, right? Like most of the Dark Multiverse characters that we're getting backstories for, I don't care, right? Like, it's fine that we get these stories, but generally speaking, I'm just sitting here like, okay, that's fine. I'm just keen to look back at our trinity of characters and things like that, right? But with this, I would be very keen to see Kindred's backstory. And I think it's rare that I say that about a character generally, because in comics, the backstories don't usually make them compelling. It's usually they've lost someone and because they've lost someone, they need to get back at our hero or something like that. It's not usually compelling, but this has the potential to be very compelling. So I'm keen to see the backstory to Kindred in that sense. I think the only thing this comic had going against it is all the speculation and all the meta reading that people have been doing of the last year or two, which maybe that could have been eased a bit if the reveal came sooner in the run, which was possible. I will note that. It's not that all of the last 50 issues were necessary, because they were not. They were fun, but they weren't necessary towards the storyline that Nick Spencer is setting up. So I will just note that. Ultimately, this issue is great. I think in the last 5 or so issues of Spider-Man have been consistently good, and I think that we're in a promising direction. I think the run itself has been generally okay. For about 45 through to now, we're in a good direction, I think. I am concerned about sort of bringing the Spider family into the storyline. I think I wouldn't mind sort of just a more intimate Peter Parker related story with this, especially considering who's involved. But if we can't do that, I would hope they at least keep the Spider family confined to the times. So guys, have you read the issue? What did you think? Let me know, and look out for more videos coming.